there for 5 episodes already.
Oh, we've hung in there for 5 episodes because it's been...
Yeah, we're pretty exhausted.
There's been a lot of kinks to work out. Admittedly, Courtney's been doing the brunt of the work because
we're also
too, but I'm also, I don't know.
We have overloaded plates. We're overextended right now.
But we love what we're doing. We love talking to you guys and putting out stuff like this.
It is energizing for sure. Yeah, I have no social life and this is fueling me for the next month.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a disclaimer because we did the first 4 episodes of this show like 6 to 9 months ago.
Yeah.
So we have no idea if we're wearing clothes that we just wore in the last episode or like, I don't know, mention things that we've mentioned before. So, forgive us for any of that kind of repetition.
Yeah, because, we have some episodes stockpiled, we recorded them a little bit ago. So, okay, so our topic for today is, alternative therapies and supplements.
Yeah, so in the last episode, in episode 5, we talked about medications and we had the amazing Dr. Dodson on. And I forgot to push record. But he's a wealth of knowledge with medication. What I have learned from Dr. Dodson's talks at the ADHD conference is that there aren't any therapies for ADHD that are significantly effective for treating core symptoms outside of proper medication, and to a much lesser degree, exercise. Now, that said, he does very much support ADHD coaching, because that's not expected to treat core symptoms. It's just expected to arrange your life in a way that makes your symptoms less noticeable. It works with your brain, so that you run into less obstacles and so that you're less dysfunctional. Now, supplements for ADHD specifically. I couldn't bring that up with Dr. Dodson because he doesn't want anyone to think that supplements are going to be a great treatment for ADHD, and I agree with him. However, I don't think that they are useless. There's a couple of reasons. One is that a lot of us, including myself, have the mother effer gene. Listen, they spell it like MTHFR. Why would you name it that if you didn't want me to call it that?
MTHFR, that's the gene?
Yeah.
What is it?
So if you have this gene, people with this gene, including myself, can't process B vitamins properly. So, what you need to do is have methylated B vitamins because it has and I always lose the word for this, enzyme. Whatever it is that your body is supposed to produce to break apart the molecule, we don't produce that. Or we produce it to a much lower level. If you're not getting proper the meds, folks, listen, no matter how many meds you take, it's not going to make up for lack of sleep. Okay, try it again. If you're not getting the proper amount of B vitamins, you can have deficiencies that affect your nervous system. And this can manifest as some ADHD symptoms. So, I'm not saying this is going to cure your ADHD. I'm just saying that we want to make sure we're not deficient in anything, right? We want to make sure that we're not working against ourselves. So we want to optimize our bodies as much as we can to support ourselves, not expecting it to cure anything. So if you know that you have the mother effer gene, look for methylated B vitamins. They're in my TikTok shop, by the way. I believe omega-3s and maybe 6s. A deficit of them can also cause neurological problems. And magnesium. I'm just doing this off the top of my head, so double check my facts. But my point is, there are some biological conditions that can manifest from deficiencies. You know, there's genetic conditions, there's just nutrient deficiencies that can affect our cognition and things that, you know, and sensory processing and stuff like, and sleep. So my point is, do all the things, right? I always say do all the things, because if something helps 0.5%, why not? You know, maybe even if it's just making sure you have the precursor to dopamine so that you can produce enough dopamine. You know, even if you aren't good at producing dopamine, at least you have the nutrients to produce as much as you can. Yeah. So my motto is always do all the things, because a little tiny bit of a percent, a bunch of those add up to a bigger percent. The other thing I want to mention, and this is really important, is neurodegeneration. So I know this is difficult to hear, and it really kind of bums people out, but it's not the end of the world. ADHDers are particularly prone to neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. So what is that kind of dementia? The irony.
The Lewy body?
Yes.
Yeah.
The bottom line is we're prone to neurodegenerative diseases because we have overactive nervous systems, and they go through a lot of stress, especially on stimulants. It's really ramping up our nervous systems all the time. And so that can cause a lot of oxidative stress. And that's what leads to those things. Also, you can be genetically predisposed. Me, I have tons of Parkinson's markers in my DNA. But I know that's difficult to hear, but the good news is that there are supplements that can protect your nervous system. They're neuroprotective, antioxidants in particular. But there's all sorts of different kinds that can help you protect your nervous system. And I have some exciting news regarding that. Guess what, guys? We got a sponsor!
Welcome back to the Supplement Dating Game. We're here with our bachelorette Melissa, who is looking for that special supplement to help her manage life on stimulants.
Bachelor number 1. What would the perfect day on stimulants look like to you?
Well, Melissa, first we'd start with my daytime formula, because you'll need lots of antioxidants and essential nutrients to nourish that beautiful nervous system when it's running hot. And after a long day of being a badass boss lady, you'll love my nighttime formula to wind down, relax, and get in the mood for a long and deep night's sleep.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Contestant number 2, what about you?
I have antioxidants too. Forget it.
Well, I guess that settles it. Stasis, you are the winner. There you have it, folks. Another match made in heaven. Join us next time on the Supplement Dating Game, where Stasis is pretty much always the winner.
So another thing is that, yes, there are alternative therapies out there that don't have any empirical support, like acupuncture, like spirituality, like, I'm trying to think of the others. Anyway, the things that people call like pseudoscience or homeopathic or whatever. Here's the thing about those. There's still a placebo effect. And as that's not to sound like patronizing or insulting, a placebo effect is legit. There is a legit percentage that you will benefit just from believing something. So, and there is also a lot of study in people's spirituality and how the more stable and at peace they are with their spirituality, the better their health is. So, and the better their mental health. So, while there is no scientific research that says it's great to pray to your God or go, I don't know, whatever your spirituality involves, go to your astrologer. My mom's an astrologer, by the way, so if you want an astrologer. So there is scientific support for just supporting your needs, whatever those are. So if you have spiritual needs like praying to your God or going to the astrologer or whatever, that will benefit you. So do it. So I guess the bottom line here is do all the things. Just be knowledgeable about them. Don't expect something to give you a whole bunch of benefits if there's not a lot of science that says it's going to.
I'm not a big supplement person. I've never really gotten too into taking supplements, mostly for cost purposes because they can be expensive, especially if you're buying like high quality supplements, and then sometimes you're like, oh, well, I read about this thing and I need this, and I read about this and I need this, and then you're like, oh, my kids should be on this, and oh, my partner should be on this, and it's like, then all of a sudden you're like $1,000 a month for supplements if you're trying to get your whole family, and it's rough sometimes when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I think, that's been one of my hangups when it comes to supplements. It's not that I don't believe in them, and there are certain things that I would love to be taking regularly, but it's a cost issue for me, and I'm really sad that we don't live in a society that sort of recognizes the benefits that supplements can have. Our medical system is not preventative focused. It's more treatment focused. And I think if we were more focused on prevention, it would be like, oh, give these people omega-3s, give these people, let's do a blood panel. Let's see what you're deficient in. Let's do genetic testing. Like, let's do all of these things. And it's just not. It's just not like that. It's like, oh, well, once you're actually sick, then you come to us and we give you a medicine. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, that's rough, because if supplements were covered by insurance and vitamins, it's like, I feel like the world would be a much different place.
I agree. Now, two things. One, if your doctor prescribes supplements, they can be a tax write-off. I'm not a tax professional, so talk to your tax professional about it. I just know that I do it and I'm allowed to. And, also along those lines, ADHD coaching. If that's prescribed by a doctor, it works as the same way. And Dr. Dodson in our last episode, the adult ADHD guru, recommended ADHD coaching. So, but we did for, I do want to make sure that we put in this disclaimer because it's very important, especially Melissa being a nurse. It's really important to talk to your medical professionals before
not me, a doctor. Yeah.
Not Melissa. Yes, your medical professionals about any new supplements that you plan on taking. Because they're going to tell you what your nutrient levels currently are. So you don't want to overload yourself, right? Mm-hmm. You might be deficient in something you didn't know you were deficient in. Yeah. They can tell you they can run a DNA test and find out that you have the gene that I was talking about. And they can identify any interactions with any current meds you're taking or any other supplements you're taking.
Interactions or issue, if you have issues with your liver, if you have any sort of liver disease, kidney disease, supplements can be really dangerous because your body can't clear them as effectively and you can get toxicity. And there's all of these things that go into that. And yeah, it's just really smart to talk to your doctor. Hopefully you have a good doctor who's open to listening about supplements and working with you on those sorts of things. And if not, maybe find a different doctor. Aside from supplements, I feel like what works for me as like my personal alternative therapies, just because I haven't really had the luxury to be able to use supplements, I'm not medicated, for many like personal reasons. So for me, it's been sort of finding alternative things that work for me, right? And really getting to know like what helps calm my nervous system, what helps me sleep better, all the things. And, the main things for me are movement. I'm really like almost addicted to movement, I gotta say. Like, I just got a walking desk, like a treadmill and a standing desk.
There's one in my TikTok shop.
Oh, there you go. Plug. So you can stand and walk while you work because I'm in school and I've been doing so much studying that I can't sit for a long time. I have ADHD and I get really, really antsy and then I start feeling anxious. I'm just like, I have all this pent up energy and I'm like, okay, I gotta find something to help with this. But running, I'm a runner,
You're an aerialist.
Any sort of like physical activity is my jam. I love to move my body. Yeah, aerialist. I love to go upside down. I love to climb things. I love to spin around. That's the autism.
You're a nurse, so you're like all day.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, nursing is hard work and you're on your feet all day, but like also I couldn't have a job where I sat at a desk all day. Oh my gosh. Just talk about torture. So movement, meditation for me is hard because of my racy brain, but I do sometimes find that guided meditation or even simply like taking a minute when I'm feeling funny to be mindful is really helpful. Like once I discovered that if I just take a minute to think about what's happening, I can usually pinpoint it because sometimes, especially with autism, I don't know if this is a thing in ADHD, you could probably tell me, but like the interoception problems in your body where it's like, sometimes I haven't eaten in a really long time and my body won't signal that. Like the way it signals is I'll start feeling something emotional or physical in a different way where I'm like, and I'll have to be like, wait, okay, let me just take a minute. Let me check in. Let me see what's happening. Let me think about what my day has been like what could have disturbed me? When was the last time I ate? Am I drinking enough water? Is that why I'm having a headache? Like you have to like sit and think and focus and just be like, okay. Deep breathing, box breathing. I love box breathing. Whenever I can't sleep, that's helpful. If you don't know what box breathing is, you can actually Google it or like put it into YouTube and there's videos that you can follow. But it's basically breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold that for 4 seconds. That's box breathing. In, out, in, out. And when I can afford it, another thing that I wish was covered by insurance that helps me a ton is massage.
Oh man, speak my language, especially for you hypermobile folks out there.
People with hypermobility, people with chronic pain, and massage. If you find someone who's really knowledgeable and can really work with your body and your preferences and your needs, it can just do so much good as far as like relaxing. A lot of us are very high strung and tense. And you don't realize the amount of tension you're holding in your body all of the time, and that can cause problems. Like, I find myself like this a lot, and I have to be like, whoa, put your shoulders down. I'm like up by my earlobes. I'm just like clenched, and I'm like, why am I so stressed right now? So those are my main go-tos as far as like alternative things that work for me. And therapy. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, so, just to kind of expand on the therapy thing, in Dr. Dodson's talks, he talked about all the modes of therapy, right? Of like talk therapy and CBT and all that stuff. And how they're not effective at combating core symptoms of ADHD. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not useful. It's definitely useful in processing trauma, in navigating a neurotypical world as a neurodivergent. Those kinds of things. I highly recommend finding a therapist who is neurodivergent informed, because there can be a lot of ableism in therapists' curriculum, just inherently, because they're not taking your disability into account. And so everything is through the filter of just do this, when it's like, well, that's easy for you to say. Along the lines of meditation and mindfulness.
Oh, wait, let me say one thing about therapy. CBT and DBT have both been proven to help a lot with emotional dysregulation. So if you're having a big struggle emotionally regulating, those are two modalities of therapy that can really that help you with the process of getting to the point where you can recognize your emotions and change your behavioral patterns in response to your emotions. So those two things have been proven to help with that. And I can speak to that because it's helped me with that.
I do want to kind of add a disclaimer on that though, because we do have emotional dysregulation that is neurological that we're born with. So there is a cap to that. There's a limit to that benefit.
It's not curative.
Right. So we're not like neurotypicals where our emotional dysregulation is just because we never learned how to regulate.
Right.
But this can give us some tools to kind of mitigate it.
It gives you tools, and it's gotten me to the point where most of the time I can turn a meltdown, what would have been a meltdown situation, I can turn it around most of the time. Because like I said, it's not curative, but it is really helpful to where you get to that point where you can learn the tools to turn the truck around.
So along the lines of meditation and breathing exercises now, and mindfulness, meditation, breathing exercises, please don't feel bad if these things don't work for you. I know that the narrative around them is that they're a cure-all for everybody, and it's just not the case, especially with us neurodivergent people. Neurodivergencers is the new word.
Yeah. Now I gotta say, let me interrupt, because I wasn't trying to say that this works for everybody. I was just saying what works for me, but also these can be great things to add in to sprinkle in, if they work for you.
Yeah. But the reason, and this wasn't in reaction to what you said, it was in reaction to, I just took my stress course in psychology. I'm getting a degree in psychology and addictions. And I just had to take a stress course where they forced me to engage in mindfulness exercises every week. And it was extremely invasive, and violating, and it sparked a lot of panic attacks. Mm-hmm. So I just want you to know, and nobody shows that side of it. Everybody is just mindfulness. Oh, do it. Meditation is so great. And it's like, yes, it is for most people. It's wonderful. But there are some of us that it does harm to. So read yourself. Understand yourself. Self-awareness is the best tool that you can have as someone who's neurodivergent. And as you said, it's difficult, a lot of times, especially if you're autistic.
And it is hard because you can start feeling like guilty. So my partner, Gray, before they got their ADHD diagnosis, which was just not recently, but a couple years ago, but before that, they would actually feel like shit because they couldn't meditate. They'd be like, I don't know what is wrong with me. I
feel judged.
Meditate. And I'm like,
and you feel like a bad person.
That's not a character flaw. Like, it's just not for you, but like, because you're right, there is that realm out there that's like, oh, these are the best things that you should be doing, and it's not for everyone. I'm curious, I've never really heard that side of it though, as far as like causing a panic attack, like the mindfulness stuff. Is it?
So there's two triggers there. One is the PDA. One is you have to do this right now, my way. When I prefer mindfulness on my own, in my own way, at my timing, not because I have to fulfill an assignment. The other thing is breathing. Anytime my awareness goes to my breath, I overanalyze my breath, and it's like my body forgets how to properly breathe, and it... Now, I don't want to say all bad things, because the whole course was about how effective it is and how great it is for your system. Mm-hmm. Now, same with the breathing. Thank you, Trevor Bell. And that's the thing, is like, you're absolutely right about the judgment part, because in every journal that I had to do for that class, I ended up saying, I feel like I'm the difficult kid again. I feel like it's triggering some emotion here. I feel like I'm back in that classroom where I'm asking questions to understand things, and the teacher sees me as combative. Just because something doesn't work for you doesn't mean that you're combative or resistant or difficult or have a bad attitude. There's something that's going on with you, and no one's acknowledging that. So please be your own advocate. And if you need support, you have me, and I will be your champion. But these things are statistically very effective for your stress levels, and I gotta say, stress is a big killer for us. Us ADHDers have lower life expectancies due to a whole lot of things. One of them is stress levels, and these breathing exercises are extremely effective in lowering your interrupting your stress response. Yeah. That brings me to
friends and followers.
I gotta remind myself.
Okay, so I'll do mine first. So mine are both social media people. The first one I have for you guys. Okay, so I do aerial, but I'm also getting into pole. And this person who I follow, especially now that I'm doing pole and I know how hard it is amazing. So if you, like me, like watching creative people do amazing things with their bodies and just be strong and so impressive, follow this person. Her name is Olga Koda. And her handle, at least on Instagram, I'm not sure where else she is at, but I follow her on Instagram. It's OLGAKODA_PD. She's Russian. She's in Russia. And she is absolutely incredible. Like, probably one of the most fit people I've ever witnessed. To be so strong. So Olga Koda, follow her if you like watching people dance or do like tremendous things.
Okay. My first one, I talk about her all the time on social media. I don't know if I've mentioned her here yet, but I shout her praises constantly. If you liked our interview with Dr. Bill Dodson, you will love Dr. Carolyn Lynch Parcells. Let's start. You will love Dr. Carolyn Lynch Parcells. I was thinking inflection wrong. Parcells. Really trying to fix that. It's deeply ingrained in my brain. She's the.adhd.md. She is a delightful, sparkly unicorn. She is a ADHD mom. She's killing it. The way she is parenting is fantastic. She gets all of the things. She's super validating. She knows her stuff with meditation. She just opened her own clinic in Fort Worth, Texas. Anyway, she gives the med talks at the ADHD conferences as well. She calls herself, Dr. Dodson Jr. Cause her med talks aren't as like, jargony. They're a little more like user friendly and in layman's terms. And, she's very relatable. She's very candid. She's, just a really cool person, really approachable if you have like questions for her and stuff. She's an absolute asset to our community. So yeah, go follow her on social media. And if you're in Texas, that's your new doctor.
Okay. My second friends and followers for you guys is also on Instagram. His name's Sam Jones. His Instagram handle is No Meat Disco. All one word, No Meat Disco. So if you don't know, I'm vegan. I've been vegan for many years. I'm not going to preach at you guys to not eat meat, but also if you're looking for some alternative ways to like integrate some really good plant-based recipes into your life, his account is super good. He makes a lot of stuff that's really, like it seems very fancy, but it's actually really easy to make. Which is my favorite kind of thing because I want to eat stuff that like tastes good and feels like I'm eating something like really, like extra cool, but then also I don't want to cook forever in the kitchen. So No Meat Disco, I literally, whenever his videos come up, I'm just like, my mouth is just watering all the time. I'm like, how are you so good at cooking things? Will you come live with me?
You're making me realize that my PDA manifests with cooking.
Really?
I can't make dinner if it's just like, oh, well, you know, you need to do all these things to make the dinner. I can only cook dinner if I'm excited to make something that I like to eat. It has nothing to do with like how easy it is. It's really just about how excited am I to make it because I like that food.
Makes sense though.
Yeah. I guess it's following the dopamine, isn't it? It's really just like the excitement around something that's new and...
Yeah. So I really like to cook, but it's because I like to eat. So I could never be a chef and be like cooking all the food and then you just like send it out in a restaurant for other people to eat. I don't want to do that. Like the thing I like about cooking is looking forward to the part where I get to eat it. So yeah, so that's kind of, I guess maybe the same-ish type of vibe is what you're saying is like.
Yeah. But I do love making, that's weird, love making. I do love making. I do love to cook for the same and it'll turn out so delicious too. Nice. Yeah. Cause you know what you like. I do love making something for a loved one that I know they love that I don't. Cause I'm excited to like make them happy.
That's true. Yeah. No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, anyway.
But I'm not giving it to a stranger in a restaurant that I don't even get to watch them eat it. That would be creepy if you were a chef who like followed the waiter out to like to the table, take a bite. I want to see you enjoy it, and then you just walk back to the kitchen.
Okay. But wait, don't. And I have a lot of autistic traits, so y'all know. I just don't have I don't have enough to qualify for a diagnosis. But I wonder, isn't it a pretty standard experience with autism that a lot of autistic people feel uncomfortable with expectations on reactions to gifts? Because of the because of the, what is the experience, how do you describe the experience of like the lack of expression? Is it, what is it based in? Is it not knowing the feeling that you're having so you don't know how to express it, or you just don't feel like expressing it, you only feel it on the inside, just not physically out?
Right, yeah, I can only speak for myself, but for me personally, like, just sometimes, yeah, I guess that's a good way to describe it. Like, a thing that I feel on the outside may not show up in the way that someone might expect on the outside. And so for me, I could be really excited about something, but no one would really know, or I could be like, oh, I love this. Thank you.
That's really funny.
And people want you to be like, oh my God, I love this gift. This is amazing. This is great. And like, so you can't make yourself do that. It's so hard. It feels so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, do you still have the accompanying emotion that goes with it? You just don't express it physically? Or is it that you're intellectually excited, but not emotionally excited?
Again, I can only speak for myself. Yeah. That's a good question. Let me think about that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, so for me also, it's like, it's also the experience of being watched or how someone's perceiving my emotion too. Like, I just ordered a vintage Time magazine from, I believe it was published in 1963 or 1964.
Oh my God, space race?
Yeah, it was all about the Gemini missions. And I was like, I'm obsessed with like space and stuff, if you guys don't know. But it came, and when I opened it, I was by myself, and I was literally like, I was opening it, I was looking at it, and I was like, but like, if I had been around someone, maybe if I was around my partner, I would have probably reacted the same way. But like, when someone's perceiving me, it's harder to like have outward reactions like that. Unless it is something I'm really super excited about, then somehow, like, sometimes it'll come out, and other times it won't. But I think it's just the expectation attached to it, where it's like, you don't want to react wrong. You don't want to seem underwhelmed, especially when it's like someone's doing something kind for you, or someone, you know, surprises you, and don't surprise me, where you want to be like, ah, and you're just like,
does my reaction match your expectations?
I'm excited. Can you see? Where really you just want to be like,
you just want to honor yourself,
you just want to be like,
what their expectations are.
I love this. Thank you.
Truly. I do wonder, like, because when you said when you're alone, you do the whole song and dance.
Sometimes.
Is it, okay, I was gonna say, is it maybe a masking issue? Like, did you grow up in a environment where you felt like totally free to just be yourself, and you weren't like, you didn't have to like mask and fit yourself in a box?
I don't think any of us grew up like that.
Oh, I did.
You did? Really?
That's why I'm so, like, crazy and animated. I have very, like, musical
Amanda
performance.
says my Sims are more prominent when I'm alone. So yeah, maybe it does have to do with masking. I never thought about that, but also, but I think it's also like, yeah, it might be a comfort level thing with the person you're around. And then also sometimes it's just like, I don't feel like expressing things the way that I'm expected to express them. Maybe that's a PDA thing.
It could be. Could be.
Where you're
I
like,
will tell you that,
I think someone said
Q,
something here.
Yeah, Q, I'd like to hear your elaboration on this in terms of what I was just asking her. Says, well, Chuck or Bill made a good point. Feels like rejection to me when that happens, RSD. But Q says, personally, I don't know how to react and can't do a hyped up reaction. It'll be like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And they said what she said exactly.
Yeah. Don't know how to react as in like,
do you feel like it might be a masking issue? Like it's an inhibition?
Because I feel like I know.
Does it matter who's around?
Like I know what's expected. Cause I've like been around people who are excited and I'm like, well, I know what that looks like. I could do it.
Yeah.
And for a long time I did do it. Like a lot of us did stuff that were like, why was I doing that? Why was I acting like that when I didn't really like feel that is a masking thing.
So there's two experiences that I have that I'm wondering if they have kind of the same motivation. So I'm going to describe two scenarios. They're not going to be that, but they might have the same kind of motivation behind them. Let me know if this is what you're kind of feeling. One is, yes, the PDA, but it's in terms of like, here's an example. I can't handle line readings as an actor. If I am acting in a scene, a line reading is when you are giving an actor a note, like as a director, you're like, I'd like the scene to go this way. You can't say my lines for me. Don't be like, oh, do it like this. Well, I don't like that. Cause now you've put that in my head and now I can't do that because that's your thought. You own that now. Now I can't, now I'm just gonna be fake, like trying to mimic it. And that feels icky and fake.
Mm-hmm.
When I'd rather, like, when I'm an actor, I'd like to use empathy to be like, hey, how would I feel and how would I act if I were in this circumstance? And then it's organic and then it feels natural and real. But if you just say, do it like this, then it feels like I'm a puppet and I'm like, ugh, this feels gross. Is that what you mean? Kind of like the PDA part of it?
I don't know, cause I don't know, that just dawned on me that it might just be me rebelling against the expectation too, where it's like, if I don't feel that, why am I expected to act like that? Like, not that I don't feel it, but if I don't feel like emoting it that way, but, people are putting on here like, oh yeah, it's a masking thing, It's reminding me of like recently at work, I was thinking about this really hard because, there was a moment where I fake laughed at work and I got really like disappointed in myself because I was like, I thought I was trying not to mask anymore. And people laugh so much at things that I'm like, why are we laughing right now? Because I don't find that many things that funny. On the other day at work, a group of people were standing around and somebody said something and I didn't find it funny at all. And everyone was cracking up. And I was like,
that sucks.
And I was like,
because then you feel like the difficult person.
I was like, and I was like,
ew, that feels gross.
I'm like, I'm gonna walk away now. I was like, it's weird in those situations because what do? You're in a circle of people, everyone's laughing, and you're just gonna be standing there like, and then you're gonna look like an asshole. So I don't know what to do. Sometimes it makes me feel like sometimes masking is like a necessity, but I hate to say that because
it's just like we talked about. We're in a neurotypical world. We were in a world that was built by neurotypicals, so there's a level of like playing the game. That we do just to be functional in it. There's this thing that goes back and forth in my mind a lot where I'm like, because I'm on the cusp of autism,
the cusp of autism.
I often wonder like, is this autistic experience just not interpreted properly very often? Or is it just that I have a specific experience because I'm on the cusp of autism? And let me give you an example to put it in context. There are times, especially if I'm heavily medicated, it's really difficult for me to like laugh. And when I'm unmedicated, I'm the hardest laugher ever. There are times when I overthink things, and it happens so much with like emails where I'll be so excited or thankful and suddenly the words just feel, cause I've overthought how I'm gonna convey my sentiment through an email that now it just feels robot. Like now I'm just arranging words and it's starting to like make my brain be like, is this happy or not? And then suddenly it just feels super fake and like, how do I convey that? But okay, those experiences happen, and I do have some autistic experiences too that only happen when I'm high anxiety and overthinking things, like self-consciousness, where I'm suddenly very aware of like eye contact and where I put my hands and stuff and my mannerisms. And I think, okay, well then is autism maybe just a result of high anxiety? And that's why so many autistic people have anxiety. Is like, that's a manifestation of like, when you have this much energy, you suddenly are super overly thinking and overly aware of all the things that you're expressing and conveying. Or is that just my experience because I'm kind of autistic? I don't know.
On the cusp.
I'm on the cusp.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's what autism is, but like, that might, anxiety is definitely a contributing factor to some autistic behaviors. I believe that for sure. Yes, situational anxiety, when I'm more aware of things, I have similar experience. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, like,
anybody with performance anxiety, all of a sudden you're very aware of like, where do I put my hand?
have you ever been talking to somebody that's really good at eye contact and it makes you it does that thing where you're all of a sudden like really aware of the fact that this person is like genuinely looking you in the eyes, and then you feel pressured to like meet them there, and then you're like, I can't, and then it becomes a weird struggle of like, can I look away? How long should I look away? Should I look up? Should I look down? Am I rude? What's happening? And the whole time you're not even like hearing what they're saying. And then you're like, what? And
that's a great example of times that dynamic happens. Is like, I'm almost never aware of eye contact. And that was one of the things that has been like a litmus test of like, do I fit autism or not? And I was like, I don't even pay attention to eye contact, except in times where I'm super overly self-conscious or high anxiety or feel put on the spot, or being judged. So yeah, that's interesting. I wonder. Q says, oh my gosh, I have a very good solution for that, especially email stuff. ChatGPT. Yes! ChatGPT is wonderful for that. Yes. It doesn't capture my voice, so if somebody knows me well, they might, it might not work so well, but yeah.
I noticed that I tend to look a lot at people's mouths when they're talking to me.
Oh, that's the auditory processing.
I'll do the thing where I'm like staring at their mouth for a long time, and then I'll be like, oh my god, I probably look like a weirdo, where I'm just like staring at their mouth.
I don't know, as somebody who
being around people is hard. That's why we stay home a lot.
I only recently was aware that was not a normal thing. And, in the moment I caught it and I was like, no, that doesn't look weird at all. It just looks like you're trying to understand what I'm saying.
Okay. I hope
but maybe that's because I have audio processing and I do that so I'm understanding.
Maybe,
yeah. So it's another one of those, I don't know if that's the experience or if I'm just a special case. Okay, so.
Well, yeah, we should, let's mosey on to the next, what? Oh, we got all off on a tangent on our friends and followers. That was what it was about. Okay, our next segment.
Do we do
Stimulation
Regulation? Do both friends and followers?
Oh wait, I did mine. Oh, mine was no meat disco when we started talking about cooking. Oh my god, that was a long tangent. That was like 15 minutes. Hey, you know what? If you're not here for the tangents, you might as well leave now because it's going to happen because we both have ADHD. And I realize right now we've been at this for several hours and I'm getting really, really fidgety, which is fine. I don't care, but I'm hoping it's not too distracting to people. I notice when it starts happening and I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, I hope people aren't like, hold still, Melissa.
I didn't realize how fidgety I was until I started editing these episodes. Yeah. And my animation there's a lot of times where it looks like I'm bored with you or annoyed with you or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that what I look like to people? Okay. My second one is, and I hope you guys know him already, Michael Threets, the librarian. Anybody?
No.
Michael Threets?
Try plugging it in and no battery.
I'm surprised that Michael reaches that far of an audience, Q.
Wait, I gotta write it down.
Because he's kind of right in my backyard. He just got a job with PBS. He was working for the, I want to say, Stockton Library? Did I get that right? Which library was he? Do you remember what library he was working for? Like San Diego or something? Anyway, I think it was in the Bay Area. Anyway, he is so positive and delightful and sweet. He just is endlessly positive and non-judgmental and sweet and kind. And he works in he worked in a library. He was a librarian for years, and he would just welcome everybody into that library and would tell the stories about the people who came into the library who were timid or feeling shameful about their behavior, and he just would welcome them. Just his energy is absolutely adorable and precious and wonderful and sweet, and it just kind of makes your whole day when he pops up on your feed. And he's very open with his mental health struggles. And he encourages people to not feel bad about their mental health struggles and to support themselves. I just love his energy, and everybody does. It's infectious. He's wonderful. But I'm excited if he did actually get like a show on PBS. That's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So
So
like
that's
the new Mr. Rogers or what?
yes, in terms of how much universal support he has because of his energy.
I love it.
But a very different energy. He's not so much like educational, like, hey children, this is what you do. It's more of just like, I love you all and please, you're all welcome to my library. Thank you, more about like boosting self-esteem and stuff.
Sweet.
What is our next segment? We do.
It's Stimulation Regulation.
Oh yeah.
Stimulation Regulation Station, all aboard!
We both kind of share things that we either use when we're feeling overstimulated to sort of like tamper that down, or understimulated to kind of like jazz things up.
Yeah, so it's a coping mechanism.
Or both. Some things kind of just balance, So anyway,
comfort safe
items.
Yeah. My first one is Fraggle Rock. You'll notice that all of mine stem in childhood. Because going back to my childhood is so comfy as far as like the stimuli, the colors, the characters. Fraggle Rock. I loved Fraggle Rock growing up. I do have a Fraggle Rock lunchbox. They revamped it on Apple. What is that? Apple TV? They revamped it, and it's not like a totally different show at all. It's the same puppets, same scenes. It's just like, it's almost remastered, but they have like new updated themes, like consent.
Really?
But it's wonderful. It's so, I love it, because I just get to lay down and not think. Usually these things for me is like when I'm overstimulated from a day where my brain was just at like 500% all day and I'm just wiped. And I want you to just feed me brainless dopamine, and warm feelings. And that's Fraggle Rock for me.
It's Fraggle Rock. For people who are younger, they're going to be like, what's that? Because it was an 80s.
But it's brand new again.
So. It's new again. I'm so glad to hear that, because I used to love Fraggle Rock too when I was a kid.
It used to be my
good one. Yeah.
It used to be my ringtone.
Oh my gosh, you were really into it. Okay, so my first one is, so this one can go both ways for me. It can be a source of stimulus, or it can be a source of regulation for me. And I contemplated on like talking about this because so many of us on the spectrum, especially, but I think in ADHD land too, have food issues. So I don't want to like say anything that's like triggering to anyone, but, for me, sometimes food can be either a comfort or just something I need in the moment. Certain types of foods. Right now, I'm really stuck on two things. Baked Lays, which came out, I don't know, like a couple decades ago. And I liked them back then, and then they went off my radar. And then recently, like a couple months ago, I was at Target, and I saw them and I was like, Baked Lays? Did they go away and come back, or I just never registered that they've been here the whole time? I think they've been here the whole time. So I was like, oh my gosh, I used to like those. So I bought a bag, and now I'm like, the texture and like the crunch, it's not a cracker, it's not a chip. It's just good. It's just so good. And I just find myself just mindlessly kind of like, I need the crunch. And the other thing that's probably a little bit more like healthy and like not as filling, and you can eat more of it, is seaweed, which I used to hate. But at Trader Joe's, I found this like teriyaki flavored seaweed, where it just comes in like a little snack pack and you just eat the little, I have some in my bag actually, where it's like also a textural thing for me, where it's just like, I don't know, it just takes me like into a different place. And I think there are a lot of people that kind of sometimes use food as a stim. I know you've talked about this a little bit. I think we talked about this on an episode about some different food things now.
I don't know,
but I know that we were going to. Maybe we haven't yet. But like I said, it can be kind of a slippery slope because it's like you don't want to be using that as your go-to all of the time for, because
we're prone to binge eating because of the dopamine deficiency. It makes you crave. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about like the world is too much for us and we need something safe.
When I get home from work from a long 12-hour shift of nursing, I like to have my little snack. I should put some in a bowl and I go turn on my comfort show or whatever show Gray and I are watching and I'll just like snacky snack it. And makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love my little chippies. Yeah.
So that qualifies as a safe food, right?
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yes, I don't know why, but McDonald's and shawarma literally makes me feel happy to this day. I can't explain why.
It is. It's like a little, it gives you a little boost of something.
Yeah.
So what's your second?
My second one requires a special guest.
Oh.
Now, I know you all thought it was going to be my dog. But this was really like my dog before I had my dog. This is my Raggy, and her name is Raggy. This is my baby blanket from when I was 1 year old. I sucked my thumb until I was 9. I really should qualify for an autism diagnosis, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I sucked my thumb until I was 9, and when I sucked my thumb, I would take this lace and I would rub it against the top of my lip. And this, to this day, completely brings me back to ultimate comfort. My mom, when she would put me to sleep, so, I've always had sleep problems because ADHD and overactive nervous system. My mom would rub my face and sing me some, go to sleep.
Aww.
And nice. I even had, even if she's like stored up on a shelf to protect her from the, dogs, I still have like dreams about her when I need her. Like if I go to bed super stressed, I'll have a dream that I'm like, I got my Raggy.
Uh-huh.
So Raggy's very special.
Mm-hmm. I love that. A lot of us have items that we're attached to like that, right? It's a very real thing. I kind of got shamed out of mine, and now that I know what I know about myself, I'm thinking about how sad that is that happened. I still have it, but it's a stuffed animal that I slept with. A big white bear that I slept with like this. I still sleep with a pillow because I grew up holding something like this and I just can't sleep any other way. But it was my bear. Her name's Molly. And, I slept with her until Danica, my daughter, who's 15. I slept with her until Danica was born. And then I got told kind of how weird that is by somebody. Aww. And it made me feel really self-conscious. And I was like, I guess that is kind of weird. I'm 30. So I put her away. And I still have her, but she's put away. Maybe I should bring her back out. I don't know if I should still sleep with her because she is 40 years old and she might start to fall apart. Now, I mean, she's been washed, but I'm afraid because a blanket is a different thing where it's like a little bit more sturdy and then I feel like
no, she's falling apart.
A bear is like
scared to wash her because I feel like she's going to disintegrate.
So maybe I'll just put her somewhere special or something. But it is a thing for neurodivergent people to have those objects that they're attached to for sure. And they're comfort objects.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, if there's any, I've seen creators who are, experts in, cleaning certain, gentle things and stuff like that. If there's anybody out there watching who knows how to clean a very delicate old item without it falling apart, let us know, because we have some of those that we're afraid to clean.
Yeah. I have to say my aunt, who also might definitely be on the spectrum, because she and I have always been very much alike, to the point where everyone in the family is like, is she really your mom? And it's not your mom. She had a blanket with a silk edging, that till she was older than she should have been. I'm putting that in quotation marks. Slept with it and did the same exact thing. I don't think she sucked her thumb, but she would rub it under her nose like this. I don't know how old she was when she stopped doing it. Maybe she still does it.
I think I know what blanket you're talking about because I had a lot of friends who that was their Raggy. It was a very common blanket, yeah.
My silky, yeah.
Silky. It was a border like this thick, right?
Yeah. And it's a thing, and a lot of people are ashamed of those types of things, and we shouldn't be. So let's normalize it.
Applejacks, that's sweet. You're guessing my bird. He can be that. Usually he's the opposite. But he can. When he gives me the little upside down hugs, that just melts me.
Oh my gosh.
You're so real for this. I'm 20 and this is the exact thing I go through, diagnosis and all.
Aww.
I have a puppy teddy bear from when I was 3, bought it to me with Europe and just sits there. Aww. It's my winter teddy bear. Lots of relating to these items, and I encourage you all, just embrace it. There are no rules. Stop.
There aren't.
That there
we've
are
had
rules.
So many rules and regulations that are just arbitrary placed on us because you're supposed to be a certain way when you're an adult, and it's bullshit.
My rule is, if it doesn't hurt anybody, it's not wrong.
That's right. My second one is not really exciting, and a lot of people do this.
Oh, judgment.
I know.
What?
I mean, it's just very,
Cliche.
it's very cliche and predictable for someone who's
Okay, remember I
neurodivergent.
did pink as my friends and followers. So.
That's true. That's true. So, my second one is fidgets. And this one is kind of important to me because I just started using fidgets. I was never a fidget person, although I do fidget a lot with my hands. I do this one a whole lot. I do this a lot, which I found out is a signal for something else. And I was like, oh, I gotta stop doing that in public because that apparently means you need help and you're in like an abusive situation. So I've tried to stop holding my thumbs like this, and it's just a thing that I do. It's what?
Also bad if you have hypermobility.
Oh yeah, maybe to crunch your thumbs. But I do a lot of fidgety things with my hands, right? But I've noticed, being in school and sitting through long lectures that aren't interesting to me most of the time. It's an ADHD nightmare. It's hard. It's really, really, really hard for me to just like stay focused, stay still, not be, And Gray, my partner, has a bunch of fidgets and had gotten me one a long time ago that I like tried using, and I'm like, this isn't really like, it's not doing it for me. But now that I'm in the situation where I'm feeling a bunch of pent up energy in my body that I have nowhere to displace it to, it helps tremendously. I have this one. I really like this one. This is what I play with in class. It has a bunch of different, this.
Ooh, it's pretty too.
It's rainbow, so it's gay like me. And it's got just like a bunch of different, some of them make noise, so I can't use some of the clicky ones in class, but like this thing spins around and this thing goes like a joystick and this thing is kind of cool. And so it just gives me something to do with my hands to where I don't feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin at any moment because I'm so bored and over it and I have a bunch of pent up energy. I usually still have to go home and like run, literally. I'll be like,
I get that. I had to do that after after my bartending shifts. Had to.
Yeah, it's a thing where I'm like, I need to go home and just go for a run. Even if it's just a mile, I say. A mile is far to run, but I'm just saying like, yeah.
First of all, a follower talked about a comfort smell, like of a blanket. Smell my blanket makes me calm. I can relate. I have a lot of smells that are not only calm, but kind of addictive. My body focused addictions, my, behavioral addictions are all like smell based, like my hair and stuff. Yeah, that's interesting. Or like my boyfriend's neck.
Oh, I love the neck smell. I have one that's Vicks. I have like a eucalyptus, like Vicks nose thing next to my bed that I like to be like, okay, before I go to bed.
That's for love-hate. That's a nightmare. That is a literal nightmare.
Oh, I love that smell so much. Oh, I love it so much. If it was permanently in my house rules, I would not even be mad about it. So good. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well, I guess we're bad at saying goodbye. So, goodbye. Love you. See you next time.